Welcome to the breakdown here, brought to you by PaintballAccess.com. I'm Matty Marshall alongside Steve Rabikoff, and we have Nikki Cuba sitting in for Todd Martinez. Man, huge event, boys, for this one here. West Coast Open, 4-stop on the PSP Tour, the tournament right before World Cup, and that is the big story here at the West Coast Open. If you mess up here and you're in the Champions Division, then you are not going to be playing in that Champions Division for World Cup. So the World Cup hopes for all these teams on the line, and also, Nikki, that's one of the reasons we got you up here. Some big teams are stuck down in the Challengers Division. 3 of them: Aftershock, Infamous, and X Factor. So, you know, the thing is that, you know, in the Champs and the Challengers Division, at every single event, 2 teams go up from the Challengers Division, and 2 teams come down from the Champions Division. So we got a crazy schedule too, really stacked with good games here. Pretty much all Friday and Saturday. These teams fighting through Friday and Saturday in the prelims to get to that important Sunday. So, Nikki, I just want to touch base with you real quick. You know, Infamous came in on a tear this year, won the first event, and then it's just been a struggle since then. You guys got knocked down to the Challengers Division at the Mid-Atlantic Open, and then you lost to Art Chaos in the semifinals, you know, thus locking you into the Challengers Division for this one. So this is a really big tournament for you guys. So where's the team's head at right now?
Oh, everything right now is, you know, riding on this, you know, West Coast Open right now, the whole season, you know, to get back in the World Cup and, you know, wrap up on a good note, end it out. You know, we've been practicing really hard these past couple of weeks, and just, you know, in our minds, you know, looking back at the previous, you know, 2 events and seeing the mistakes that we made as a team, penalties, and just, you know, whether it was just misjudging the field or, you know, play calls, things like that. But right now we're feeling good. We're running on all cylinders. Everyone's super hungry and focused. And I mean, personally, myself, you know, I just want to get out of this, you know, division. It's a bunch of, you know, great, talented players throughout the whole league now. So, I mean, that's why we're in the situation that we are, because we got, you know, outplayed.
It speaks to the strength of the league, honestly. I mean, the whole reason the Champs and the Challengers Division was created is to kind of give a little bit of an incubation division for the teams that are coming up from the divisional ranks, and then also, to be honest, you know, kind of create a situation where there was some very intense drama around who are the 10 best teams in the world at any given time, and we've just seen, you know, a lot of historic teams get dropped down. Moscow Red Legion is back in the Champions Division after spending some time down there. X Factor finds themselves in the Challengers Division for the first time. Yeah. You guys have been down there for 2 events now, but you know, between those 3, so at best 2 of those 3 teams are going to be playing in the Champions Division, and that's just at the very best. And you still got to earn that, because, you know, as it's been seen now, it's tough down there, and especially with the world champs from last year and the team that won the first event down in the Challengers Division. And
I mean, Aftershock's playing the best ball that they've played in years.
Yeah.
And them coming into it, you know, you can't take them lightly.
They took 3rd at the Mid-Atlantic Open on a field layout very much like this.
Yeah, we're going to be facing off. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I interrupted you. Imagine this. We have Aftershock, LA Infamous, and X Factor. One of these teams won't be playing possibly till the following year to get back into that Champions Division. That's a long break. So like Nikki said, guys are here hungry. The pressure's on them. They got to get to the World Cup, and they know what's on the line here. So
yeah,
I've been in the Pro Division for 15 years. You know, now I'm playing. You know, like I say to everyone else, I'm playing in the Little League right now, and it's, you know, kind of disgusted.
Yeah, well, you know? and understand,
and that's on us.
Yeah, and I was talking to Jason Bornstein earlier today, and he, you know, with a team like Infamous has, there's so many good players on that team, and I was asking, you guys running starting 5 or rotations, and he's like, we're not really sure yet. It's tough because with a team like that, I mean, you guys won the first event. You won the first event in the Champions Division. It just speaks to the strength of the league.
Strength of the league, and they're good enough to win this bracket.
Yeah,
without a doubt. They just got to, like Nikki said, they just got to get back there and find what they were missing, what they were doing wrong, and they will. I think they'll get, like you said, I've been hearing they've been having really good practices. So. Yeah,
so that's the situation. Challengers bracket. So Champions bracket, the Challengers Division, bracket 1 is a straight murderer's row, and of course every game's going to be hard out there because of how good all the teams are, all 20 teams, Champs and Challengers. But man, bracket 1 is crazy. You have Ironman, Dynasty, Impact, Art Chaos, and 187 all in one league. Or, I'm sorry, in one bracket. bracket, and that's what we're starting the morning off with tomorrow. Actually, we're going to have 2 Challengers League games. It's going to be Baltimore Revo, Chattanooga CEP starting off the morning on Friday, and then Red Storm and Boom. Red Storm actually made it to the semifinals last event, though they did lose to VCK, who is making their first appearance in the Champions Division. And then we get right into it. It's going to be insane. Los Angeles Ironman Art Chaos to start out the morning. I can't wait to see that game. And then Impact 187 Crew, Dynasty Art Chaos, Ironman 187 Crew, and then Impact and Dynasty to close out the morning division. So just crazy. That bracket's going to be awesome. Yeah, that morning is going to be insane.
Great to watch for that. You know, for everyone at home, they're going to be, you know, on the edge of their seat for each of those games.
Yeah, and it's huge because we always say it, every game's a point, every point's important. I mean, that's become a mantra for every team, just to maintain their focus when they're out there and try to make sure you get 100% out of you every single time. But in this particular event, more than any other event, it definitely bears repeating, and you really can't overstate the importance of the West Coast Open now. Before, the 4th event was kind of a warm-up for World Cup.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Now it's crazy, right, Steve?
And look with Art Chaos. You know, everyone came in talking, oh, Art Chaos is going to win everything. Well, they've had a rough time this year.
They've had a rough year.
What are they going to do in this bracket here now? So we're all waiting to see what they have up their sleeve here. And they just had a rough year everywhere they've been playing this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's been up and down for Art Chaos, and so the question is one of those big overhanging questions for 2014 is Art Chaos finally going to solidify their lineup and actually come out here and give the best teams a run for their money? You know, it's been a frustrating if you're a fan of Art Chaos, and the guys on that team are legendary, and I mean, when they put that team together and came into the league, a lot of people were like, oh, they're going to instantly contend, they're going to give Dynasty, Impact, all the top teams damage a run for their money, but they have not performed up to their potential so far this year. But they're.
Do you think that's just on the team themselves? Or I mean, I look at it and I see a lot of personnel choices that I didn't like. A lot of players sat when I don't think they should have been sat, and trying to do some crazy rotations that they were doing all season. And you look at that squad, like you said, they're stacked. But why not let those 5 guys that got them there be out there fighting?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Konstantin Fedorov, Miska Kiesnev, Alexander Bernikov, Sergei Solnitskov. I mean, those are 4 of the best players we've seen in the past 10 years, and a couple greats that will go down as the greatest ever, or some at least top 10, And I think that you can't even really argue that with guys like, Malloy, Fedorov, Mishka. These are legends for a reason, And so is Art Chaos going to step up? They are in that crazy bracket too. And again, if any of these teams slip up, then they're going to be fighting in those dreaded relegation games Sunday morning. Some of my favorite games to watch. I know they're terrible to play in, but that bracket is going to be crazy. So both morning brackets, Saturday and Sunday, will be filled with those teams. And then the afternoon brackets, Damage, Heat, Vicious, Legion, and then those 4 teams will be welcoming VCK to the Champions Division. And this layout is also, we definitely should talk about that a little bit. And Nikki, you guys had a rough event at the Mid-Atlantic Open. This layout is a little similar to MAO.
Very similar.
Very similar. There is a little bit more offensive options out there. But what are your thoughts in practice about this layout? I know you guys did struggle at the Mid-Atlantic Open.
Yeah, it's a very slow field. The center of the field, the tower and the can, you could really lock up both sides, especially, getting a lot of easy lanes cross field and doing these shots. And what you're looking at right now is, that tower is going to be shooting up this whole snake side, controlling it. And what you're going to see is that can in the center is going to be used a lot going up in the middle. People are going to dump off at the Aztec and at that wing. And, they're going to be stretching it to the snake every once in a while. But for the most part, Sunday Paintball, you're going to see an inside-out game once again. It's going to be, very slow, methodical. But through that middle, there are a lot of options to blow the game open.
Yeah, and on the D side too, but you have to get past D3. Yes. That's the toughest part. The little Dorito bunker on that side of the field that you can see there, top portion of your screen. So, we count them linearly. So, you got D1, this is the closest to the start gate, D2, D3. So the D3 on both sides before that 50-yard line is it's a little bunker. So, you're going to see guys leapfrog past that. And that center, there definitely are some offensive options. Talk to almost every team out here, and they definitely have some stuff up their sleeve as far as what different possible aggressive pushes through that center, which could then free things up on the side.
To spread it and get out wide, because all that action's going to come, inside, and it's going to turn guns, and it's going to let that guy spread the field to go to snake side, go to Dorito side. It's just going to, take the guns off of him for that second, because the calls are going to be made, hey, he's either, you know, in the A or on our side of the field maybe, or, you know, situations like that where it's going to turn those guns in and it's going to free up those ones to widen that field and make it, you know, wider field, and they're playing at 100% rather than when they're stuck inside and they only get 25% of the field. Everyone's in that little tunnel.
Yeah, and so, Rab, just before we start talking about the afternoon bracket here, who do you see doing well here at this event from what you know? I mean, obviously, you know, travel around the world, you watch these teams. What are you thinking, man? Who do you think is going to be prevail here? You know, Damage won this event last year.
Damage won last year. Obviously,
Impact's on a roll.
Impact's on a roll. They got the confidence, and both of you know this. When your team has got a lot of confidence, you feel like you can win everything. So I look for them to be strong. Dynasty, this layout is like MAO. I think they're going to play the middle heavy, and they'll figure this out. Ironman, can they get out wide? Because I don't know if they can play that middle game. But again, we're going to see tomorrow morning. The big question: Art Chaos. Who's going to show up? Which team is going to show up there? Look for Dynasty to be strong on this field. Impact to be strong on this field in the morning bracket. Damage, I think they'll play this field well. Vicious has been playing very well at practice, I'm hearing. Again, though, practice is practice.
Yeah, I hear Vicious has been shooting some great lanes off the break, which is definitely going to pay dividends on this particular layout. I agree with your what you're talking about here.
I'm curious to the Houston Heat VC game. I messed that up. Sorry. Randy Smith, what does he do? Who's he rooting for? Is he watching his son play, or is he gonna be coaching Houston?
Probably a little tormented between both, but of course, it's his team. You know, now Houston Heat, that's his baby, and Houston Heat, you know, playing more paintball than pretty much any team other than maybe Impact. But you know, so much practice. Houston Heat finally at that last event taking second to Edmonton Impact in Chicago, and Houston Heat looked really good doing it. So Ryan Moorhead had come back from that torn Achilles tendon that he had partially torn, made a very quick recovery, and he looked phenomenal. One of the best snake players at the tournament, Ryan Moorhead from Houston Heat. So I think you got to keep Houston Heat in the talk of who could potentially win this tournament. So it's going to be Houston Heat, Damage, Vicious, Legion, and VCK in that afternoon bracket, and it starts out on Friday. And it's going to be Houston VCK and Omaha Vicious, followed by Tampa Bay Damage, Moscow Red Legion. Moscow Red Legion also starting to look better too. They
played much better at the last event, Nikki, and they were playing more together as a team finally, and not individuals. And I think with their coaching staff, they'll just figure it out, and eventually they'll get back there. So they're a wild card in this bracket.
Yeah, I think so. I mean but that's what's crazy, man. I mean, honestly, there's, you know, and then I think VCK could do pretty well on this layout too. They're good at gunfighting. They shoot good lanes. They don't make dumb moves.
It's going to be interesting to see how they break it down and if they could play the slow, methodical game with, you know, the top level pros. So, yeah. I mean, and it's going to see, you know, are they antsy? You know, are they trying to push it too much? And then can they, you know, adapt and overcome when, you know, their back's against the wall, they lose a couple points, and, you know, the pro teams are going to lock up the field, play slower ball, shoot lanes, and control, you know, the outsides. Can they come up in that middle and answer? And
have the patience and discipline to do that against these teams that Damage has been doing this for years. Houston, he can play both games. They can play the fast game. They can play the slow game. Vicious, we've seen what Vicious can do when they start off the year with LA Infamous. So wild cards there.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, but that's why we watch the games, man. Yeah. I always love watching the fourth event now since the Champs and Challengers came in. So much is at stake for all these teams. Every single one of these teams has a story, and some of them are going to start to play out here as far as how everyone's year looks to set the stage for World Cup come October. Make sure to sign your team up, psbevents.com. It's the best event in the world, bar none. Everybody knows that. World Cup is it's definitely the mecca of paintball, and you definitely it's going to be a huge event this year, and it's going to be a gigantic turnout. Also, before we sign off, guys, you know, who do you think is going to be good for fantasy on this team? You know, also sign you have a little bit of time before it's got till 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday, the 8th, in order to get your fantasy team in, win a custom jersey package from Raza Paintball. Deck your team out in some custom jerseys, which would be pretty cool if you guys are out there looking for some new threads. But who do you think is going to be good for fantasy? I mean, you get points taken away for getting shot off the break. You get points added for shooting people off the break. A couple other metrics in there. Go to paintballaccess.com and check it out. Get your team up. There's quick pick or draft. You can have your own league with your boys. Put whatever you want up for that. And then also there's a quick pick, and that's when you have the option to win the Raza prize package.
I would go pick Dave Baines.
Yeah,
the back center.
I'd take Dave. Take Chad Bougier from Damage.
Yeah. Jason Edwards on Damage.
Yeah, I mean, you almost kind of want to go. I mean, it's tough because if a team starts flying guys out on the snake side, they could get chewed up.
Oliver.
Yeah, Oliver played amazing. Yeah, Oliver played good. Ryan Greenspan could be good for this. They're a little expensive. That's the thing. You have a certain amount of money to work with in that quick pick. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I mean,
Paxson. I mean, you got a lot of good guys in Marcelo.
Axel,
depending on where these guys are going and where they're shooting from.
Axel from Art Chaos is a steal. He's like $100. I don't know how he's so cheap. Probably because Art Chaos has been stuck in the Challengers division so long, so Axel hasn't put too many stats up. But he's a steal for $100.
It all depends on what side of the field he's playing on, Dorito or Snake.
Yeah, and he's probably going to play Snake side, which is going to be tough. But still, for $100, man, you could pick him and then stack up with a couple more high dollar guys. You know who I might really go with, and honestly, I picked him for my team, is so I did go with him, is Zach Yakmek. Zach was the MVP from the last event from Edmonton Impact, had a dominant event.
Playing good all year.
And he's been playing super solid.
Just consistent.
Yeah, Dave Baines said that he's consistent. He said that he's the most consistent player he's ever played with other than Ryan Greenspan, and that's a pretty bold claim. So yeah, Zach Mekbeck could be a pick. So yeah, make sure to go to our website, check it out, paintballaccess.com. Sign your fantasy team up. Might win some new threads for your team from Raza. So thank you guys for tuning in, man. Nikki, best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's gonna take a big performance from you guys to get out of the Challengers division, but you definitely got it in you. I mean, we watched you guys win the first event this year.
We'll see him Saturday at 1:30 against Trenton.
Yeah, we will see. We will see Los Angeles Infamous on Saturday here at Main Field. Yeah, the grass is nice.
Look at grass, the weather, everything, just as long as the paintball gods don't rain on us.
Did you just jinx us?
No, we've been talking about it all day.
We're good.
Yeah, no, it's nice. And it's not that hot, man. It's
nice. It's comfortable up here.
Yeah, it's nice. So thank you guys for tuning in to the breakdown here. The West Coast Open about to go down. I'm Eddie Marshall with Nikki Cuba and Steve Rabikoff. So, man, it's going to be a crazy weekend. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace. And also, man, thank you guys for your support. Every dollar that you spend on the pay-per-view goes directly to our operating budget to try to keep this thing going and bring the best paintball players in the world onto your screens at home. So we will see you guys shortly. Thanks for tuning in.